Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families in the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
It is the end of the corporate age and the beginning of Waterworld, actually. It's that picture is Nessie was spotted in some Boston harbor that I can't pronounce. It's on the cover there. Scituate. Or as I'm guessing Bostonians would pronounce Scituate. Wicked Scituate. Anyway, I love that picture. That's from Erica McD. And it is a... well, it's a dramatization of what's really going on, if Nessie was really there. It's pretty bad. And I was checking historical records, everybody. This is not normal. Nor'easters are normal, yes. Okay. Oh, wait, so you're seeing blackness. Hang on a second. There we go. Nor'easters are normal, and we've had those, but not this strong, not this powerful, right? Not with 7 dead people and all the down trees and the fact that our infrastructure hasn't been fixed for 20, 30 years all over the place, 40, 50 years, who knows. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And for those of you who are out there in it right now, I'm sorry. Hope you do better. Hope you
pronounced Scituate, according to Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Or Scituate, actually.
I see that. Are you there? Who's there? Anybody out there in it? I'm going to show you this here.
Yeah.
This is our foursome. They're trying to do like Hollywood Squares or
tic-tac-toe.
Tic-tac-toe, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, new
hopscotch.
Brady Bunch.
So there's
The Bernie Bunch. There you go.
The Bernie Bunch. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
We have Björn with us today, Markus, Laura. Björn and Markus are going to give us a rundown on German healthcare, among other things. Because they both use it, because they get it.
We can promise to spoil your weekend.
Awesome, excited about that. And I don't know, before that, Laura and I are going to talk about what's going on later today and all the other things that have happened. But welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I figured out a way to do 4 people now with Zoom. Could not have been done prior, not this way anyway. So, yay.
Yeah, we're having fun with Zoom. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Who's all here? We've got a lot of people here. 28 people. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's like old times. Okay. So where are we at? Slides. This is what's coming. Oh, this is the wrong slide. Hang on. We got it in reverse. Coming up later today. This. Gail McLaughlin with as a meet and greet in San Francisco, and the lovely Laura Livengood will be there with Adriel Hampton, right, Laura?
Yes, and this is going to be. We're going to have a musical guest, Patrick O'Malley. I think I told you about him. I got the a CD of his, and he said that we can use his songs, so he will be playing music. But the hosts are Matt Gonzalez, who is going to be talking about ICE and the situation with the ICE raids in the Bay Area.
Cool.
John Avalos, Chrissy Kiefer, Adriel Hampton, Alice Mosley, Dennis Dan, Patrick, and Art Persico. And we're going to have some speeches and hear some things and we'll talk to Gail, and we'll try and get some little interviews with the new iRig system and our fancy microphone.
Right.
And it'll be real fun. So that's going to be starting around 4 o'clock Pacific this afternoon. So look for us to go live and sharing the fun. And I think Joseph Scott is going to be in the Hangout with you or in Zoom with you to provide commentary and filler.
Yes, yes, because the Germans will be sleeping at this time.
Yes.
Right.
We must let them sleep.
right? It's a little late for you guys over there.
Yeah.
It is Gail.
A little bit.
Gail. So yeah, that's going on. That'll be fun. Thank you, Laura and Adriel and Joe for joining us for that. I said 4 p.m. Am I right on that? Is that when it starts?
Yeah.
Okay. I put the squiggly in front of it. I don't know when we're starting. Sometime in the afternoon when they all get there.
Yeah, you might want to go live a little bit before, just chat a bit, and once we have the lay of the land out there, I'm really not sure what my setup is going to be there, so it'll be nice to have some buffer.
Well, Laura is using the iRig Pre, which would almost be perfect, except we needed to get her the more advanced one with the lightning connector, because I forgot she's got a newfangled iPhone. But that's okay. It'll still work. Her phone's got plenty of power, and so we've got to connect it to a microphone. If you guys didn't see the video that I did was it yesterday, the day before, showing that is the least expensive way to make your phone sound good when you're trying to record stuff. So you're going to hear that with Laura and Adriel there. We'll do interviews, right?
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yay.
And we'll probably mess up mightily several times, because that's what we do, and it'll be fun because it's a really kind of a trial run of a new way of reporting from the field.
It is. Well, a new better way, but yes.
Yes.
All right, so we got that, and then Sunday we have in the morning at 10 a.m. Progressive Oregon with Larry and Betsy, and they've got some rebel candidates: Brian Halverson, Cindy Neville, and John Orr. They're all running for, a couple of them are running for the same seat, actually, I believe. And so progressive candidates, it's we need to support them. We have lots of them. I've been reading. I don't know if you guys have seen the stories, but I'm very, very excited about they've been showing in the news. Texas is freaking out about the blue wave and the early voting. They said it's unheard of early voting happening.
Yeah.
You guys seen that in the news?
Oh, I hadn't seen that. What kind of stats
I
was
did.
it?
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, I don't know the numbers. They're just saying it's off the charts. People are out voting insanely in Texas. There was a couple other places that are having stuff going on that are mentioned that are just kicking some ass. Oh, the other one, the great one, is the DCCC pushed out that negative campaign crap against Moser. And she's moved from 6th to 2nd place. She's guaranteed a slot.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you, DCCC.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Great
sure.
help.
Oh, yeah, we planned it that way. We love her.
Yeah, yeah. Working for us without even knowing it. That's what they do there. The DCCC. So anyway, join us for those candidates tomorrow. The reason I bring that up is because our progressive candidates are not loaded with cash. Right? The progressive movement is not loaded with cash. And the other thing I'm seeing out there is every progressive organization is begging for cash. Right? And then you got people that are starting new organizations. Sean King's out there. I just joined this justice something or another in Dallas. Give us millions of dollars so we can do work. Right?
And he's getting it.
And he's getting it because he's Sean King and everybody donates it. But every org needs your help. Every org needs work. And I highly suggest, and don't take this wrong, large organizations with big celebrity people behind them like Sean King, but I highly suggest that you actually allocate more of your dollars towards your local campaigns, your local organizations, your local candidates, because that's where the money is really needed. The big candidates that the big organizations are pushing have lots of big press and big help. So donate your $5 or $2 or $10 to that candidate that's struggling out there, that's working with a team of a couple people, or maybe doesn't even have people. Or donate some of your time to those candidates, like these guys, right? Because if we can win seats, if we can take power at the lower levels, that power moves up. It ages. And that's what we've lost control of, is that in our government we have lots of aged power that is now corrupt and vile, and we have to grow our own power. So support your local candidates, the down ballot candidates. They don't need nearly as much money to win these things, right? They just need a little, and they need your help. So there. What else? Jess Phoenix.
Yay.
Jess Phoenix is back. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Got all confirmed with her, so we know that she's coming, but she'll be coming to Progressive California tomorrow night to talk about California and climate change and the environment, and anything that she wants to talk about is just fine because we like her and she's smart.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
And she's running for Congressional District 25 in California.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And she's a Trekkie.
She is a Trekkie. I'm going to bring. I've been trying to figure out a way to make a Go Jess Phoenix campaign ad, because I have for one Christmas, Lori got me a magnet set of the original Star Trek with the Gorn on it, So I have the Gorn, I have Kirk, I have Spock, and I have McCoy, and they're fridge magnets, right? And then I have this like, well, anyway, it's a cool background thing. I play with my Star Trek fridge magnets. All right, now here we'll just put y'all in here so you can laugh at me. Now, my idea was to do just put them on the fridge. I'm gonna have to clean the fridge first because it looks all gross. But then put them on the fridge, okay, and do like because she lives her district is in the area where they filmed the Gorn episode. All right.
Oh, okay.
This is why. And she told us that on the program. See, I remember the important shit. Like, there's a Star Trek reference in her. No, so I'm going to, like, the Gorn says, you know, we can fight here, but we all agree we need to vote for Jess Phoenix. Something like that. I want to do some kind of a fridge magnet ad. And I don't know. This is just what I have. So, anyway, I'm excited to show Jess my fridge magnets, do an ad for her, have her back on to talk about stuff, including what Dana Carstensen was talking about the other day on the show. Did you hear that? With pyrolic, what is it? Pyrolic burning of stuff, trash. I want to ask her what she thinks of that.
Yeah.
That's
no, I like that. I at this point, I am just getting really worried about the amount of garbage that we're all producing and getting to that point. So we need some alternative suggestions to that.
Absolutely.
And being a volcanologist, I think she would really like the idea of burning stuff up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
turn it into lava.
Something. It breaks down into fossil fuels, actually, which is, you know, a great way to just reuse fossil fuels. We have enough fossil fuels baked into the plastics that we've dumped all over the world to just run on that, really. Sadly enough. This isn't working. I have to look over here to look at YouTube and comments, and it's really weird because I moved the screen over there. But hi, everybody. Hey, Brom and Jeffrey and Jilly Love. And you got 32 of you. Hi, 33. Nice to you. Where are we at here? We're hoping that we have Michael Hepburn on Monday night. He's supposed to be We the Peoples, but we haven't heard from Michael. Michael, if you're out there, or if anybody with Michael's team, he's running as candidate in Florida's 27th district. I hope you're okay, and I hope you respond to us. Our volunteers put a lot of hard work and effort into doing these shows, and we know that you're putting in a lot of hard work and effort to get elected. So let's make this work. So hopefully we'll have Michael on Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and then we have Terry Gibson, who has been very active in social media. Having fun seeing Terry post stuff. He's a candidate for New York's governor, progressive, and I am excited to talk to Terry about that. So, a lot of people say Bill. What is his name? Bill? No, that's the mayor. Who is the governor of New York?
Mario Cuomo.
Is it Cuomo? Okay. I don't know. Good, bad, probably establishment. Definitely establishment.
Establishment.
Definitely establishment.
Yeah.
So.
Been kind of absent on a lot of issues. And Terry's mystified. Why isn't he doing anything about this?
Because he's paid not to.
Well, I really hope that that's right. That just popped out of my head.
What?
If it's not Mario Cuomo, please correct me.
Somebody correct us.
Because we're just winging it here, guys.
Well, so for those of you that are new to the program, if there's anybody here that's showing up for the first time, this is a review of the stuff that our other programs have done during the week. We have lots of them. Progressive Washington, Progressive California, Progressive Oregon, and we do 2 We the Peoples. And Markus here puts together a nice rundown of the stuff happening from the past week, and then we go over it. So let's see. I don't even have the rundown in front of me anymore,
And
Markus.
Cuomo is right, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, Markus, where should we? Let's see. I gotta get the run. So I set everything up, but I didn't set up to have everybody on camera, including Bjorn, and be able to look at the rundown. That was my mistake. Hang on, let me see what we got coming up here. Who is on here? What videos did you have loaded? See, I did this all wrong.
Okay, we can talk about the last week and our program, and
thank you.
I think it is now, I think, the 3rd week after the Florida shooting, and surprisingly for me, the the gun question, the gun control question is still a big topic in America. And I think we should stick to this and should go on, cover this. And of course, I picked a sequence from our Monday's guest, Jim Crary, and his position on gun control. And I think we should start with this, John.
All right. And we will do that as soon as I find it in here.
It's, if you go to the rundown, it's line 15.
This is terrible. I apologize, everybody. I was so excited about using Zoom and getting 4 cameras in a shot that I forgot to actually load all the media that Markus put in here. This is what happens when you're messing around with tech before you go live on a show.
Yeah.
So
we get used to this.
They get used to me doing this. It's very true.
Yes.
What's interesting with Zoom is that it keeps, how funny, it keeps Björn up there. Like I can hide him behind the video and then it gives me a little Björn. No, I'm a little image of Björn. Never mind. Let's go there.
A little.
It's not actually a little Björn. No, you know what I mean, right? Okay. There.
Of course, yeah.
All right. We're almost done wasting your time with me setting up this video. Hang on. You're just watching me working live, recropping it. Here you go, everybody. Jim Crary, who was awesome because he had good light, he had good audio, he had a good camera, he got everything we recommended, he set up, and he's got definite answers on his positions. Contrast to Jared Pettinato. We'll play a quote from Jared as well, but this is definitely some difference. I like what Jim had to say. We're going to help Jim a lot in CD2. Okay, Jim is running against Greg Walden. Walden is a Republican, controlled CD2, which is 2/3 of Oregon, right? And he's just a super Trump voter. He's an overachieving Trump voter. So this is Jim Crary, who wants to take over this district. Before we talk about climate and snow, which is something we definitely want to talk about, I want to start off with the issue that seems definitely at the top of the national chart, besides our corrupt federal government, and that would be gun control. And before we get into the specifics, I want to read some stuff that you have on your website here. It says, I am a Vietnam era veteran, served in the U.S. Army as a military policeman and correctional specialist. And then and so I want to, that's important just to understand your perspective, because you have firearms training. You've worked with a weapon that I understand is similar to the AR-15. So
yep.
Tell me where you stand on gun control.
I don't talk about gun control. I talk about gun safety. Let me give you a little bit more of my background.
Excellent.
I've been a hunter since I was 12 years old. I presently own 2 rifles and a shotgun. I have owned weapons, firearms, pretty much my whole life. So I'm somebody that uses firearms, someone that's comfortable with firearms, who owns firearms. And when I was in the Army, I shot the M16, and that's the military version of the civilian AR-15. The difference between an AR-15, the civilian version, and the M16, the military version, is the military version, you can put it on full auto. It could be like a machine gun. But an AR-15 is an assault weapon, and it's designed for one thing. It's designed to kill a lot of people very quickly, very efficiently, and it's really good at its job. It's a military weapon. That's what it's designed to do. Here's my position. We should have an assault weapon ban. There's no reason why anyone other than somebody in the military should own an assault weapon. Let's talk about magazine size. They will have, I can say magazine or I can say clip, but that's where you put the rounds or the bullets in. They have magazines that'll hold 30 rounds. There's no need for that. I hunt all the time. I hunt with a rifle that I can have 1 in the chamber and 3 in the magazine. That's all you need. If you want to have 30, what's the purpose? It's designed to kill a lot of people very quickly, and it's really good. Look at what happened in Las Vegas. That guy had, clips with 30 rounds, and with an assault weapon and a bump stock, you can pop those clips out and put a new one in, and look at what it did. 58 people dead. Universal background check. That's absolutely required. Right now, you can buy a firearm. You might be convicted of domestic violence, and you couldn't go in and buy a firearm from a gun shop, but because we don't have universal background checks, you can buy off the internet, you can buy at a gun show, And that's a loophole that you can drive a truck through. That needs to be closed. And so I would also say about the clips, you shouldn't have a clip that holds more than 10 rounds. They want armor-piercing bullets. I mean, I've shot deer, I've shot moose, and you know what? None of them had body armor on. You don't need an armor-piercing bullet. That's a cop killer. That's designed for one thing, to go through body armor, and the only people that I know that wear, this thing keeps slipping out, that wear body armor are police, and unless we shouldn't put their lives in harm's way. I just wrote a letter to the students down in Florida today, and I added something that is not on my website, but I want to talk about.
Sure.
And that's we should be licensing people to have firearms. You know what? We license people to drive a car, and if we had licensing for firearms as well, you'd have to go through training, you'd have to go through a background check, you'd have to do all these things. And again, the idea is not to keep guns out of everybody's hands. That's fine. But to keep them out of the hands of the people that shouldn't have them. What we have down in Florida and at all these mass shootings is a clash between values. On one hand, you've got the Declaration of Independence, and it says we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's counterbalanced against the Second Amendment right to bear arms. And up to this time, and I hate to use this word, someone said don't use it, but the right to bear arms has trumped on, I hate that word, has life, liberty, and pursuit and happiness. You know what? 17 people just got screwed out of their life.
Yeah.
And for what? So somebody can own a firearm? No. It should, we should have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness over someone's right to bear arms. Yes, if you want to own a firearm to hunt with or for self-protection, I'm right there with you because I've got the same thing. But that doesn't include an assault weapon. So
I appreciate your statement on that and all of your clarity on that. And I was showing you we have that from your website, your statement on the school shooting. I was showing it, but I'm glad you said most of those things because you've got that on here. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So the First Amendment trumps the Second Amendment. I know we hate the word Trump, but it really does. I'm glad you said that.
But actually, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is in the Declaration of Independence. It's not in the First Amendment.
That's true.
It's in the Declaration of Independence. But you know what? It's one of the unalienable rights that we have. And what is happening is we have this unalienable right that's being overridden by somebody's desire to own every firearm that the military has. That's not what I want.
Right. Exactly. I appreciate that. And plus, you have the NRA, you have the gun lobby, which part of, and I'm going to get into this because, it's a key to your platform. From what I was reading on your site, this is one of your key issues, and that is campaign finance reform. And we've seen what the NRA lobby has done to our Congress. So why don't we talk about that?
I love how these young people down in Florida are saying, you know what, you take money from the NRA, you are complicit with these murders. And I believe that. Campaign finance reform is my #1 issue. You talk about a totally unsexy issue to run on, campaign finance reform is it. But it is the only thing that will absolutely make a systemic change in the way we do things. Right now, these people get elected taking all this money from, I was looking at opensecrets.org today, and I was looking at how much money Walden was getting from all these industries. Holy cow. I mean, we're not talking $10,000, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he always says, oh, I just take this money and all I say is thank you. And I say, you know what, you believe that? Yeah, thank you. And I say, you believe that? I've got a bridge I'd like to sell you if you're that gullible. Because it's just not the case.
Yeah.
I take money only from individuals. When I get elected, you know what? The only question I'm going to ask was when somebody wants to see me is, where do you live in Congressional District 2? And if they say, well, I'm a lobbyist, I'm going to say, do you live in Congressional District 2? And if they say no, I'm going to say, hey, there's the door. See you later. I'm going to represent the people in Congressional District 2, not Greg Walden's contributors. And that's who he's representing.
I'm glad you said that, and I've been showing some slides here because Walden really
those are great. That's what I was looking at today.
Yeah. Open Secrets is wonderful. All you got to do is follow the money. Are they a progressive? Are they actually going to work for you? Follow the money. And what's great about Jim is that I couldn't find any. There's no trail. There's no reportings on Jim taking big old chunks of cash from corporations, so they don't have it listed in the FEC filings. There is report on how much money Jim has brought in from individual contributions. We're going to look at that. But at first I want to look at Open Secrets, and this is just Walden's money. And we've got the Association of Broadcasters, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Comcast, one of our faves, Dish Network, everybody. I don't know who Southern Co is, but they said he was worth 25 grand. Pharmaceuticals, health professionals, electric utilities, oil and gas, telecoms. That's like all of them.
And if you look on OpenSecrets.org, he's like number 1 or 2 from a lot of industries.
Interesting. And I'm going to stop it there because we're out of the guns. But that was a great interview with Jim, and he goes, he goes on to talk about Walden. We need to that guy is not doing CD2 any good. So help him out.
And I like his statement where he says that every politician who still accepts money from the NRA has blood on their hands, and is exactly what it's about right now.
It is.
And yeah.
Nice. What's next?
The next is our guest from Wednesday, Jared Pettinato, and he's coming from an era which is very, very difficult. And I met him before the show in the green room, and I teased it already a little bit. But I want to before we go into his clip and his position on gun control, just a few words on the situation Montana is in, where he's running, and he's coming from a place which has a high suicidal rate, which has the most hate groups in the country. They have the most gun manufacturers in the states up there, and all this is an explosive mixture. Meanwhile, in my opinion, it is a red state, it is a Republican state, and there is so much bad feelings going around that it is very difficult for a candidate to run there. And I think under this impression, we should see what Jared Pettinato has to say about guns.
All right, thank you for that roundup. Here you go, everybody. Jared Pettinato. Running for rep at large, Montana. They got 1 rep, about 1 million people in the state. I want to start with an issue that I'm curious how Montanans view, how you see your constituents talking about the issue of guns and gun safety. I'm going to use that word as opposed to gun control. Where do you stand, and what do you think we should do, and where do your constituents stand?
Well, when I watched what happened down in Lakeland, it just broke my heart, and to see children dying from guns in school, where we want to keep them safe, that just doesn't strike me as the America that I know. So we need to move forward, and we need to do more, because apparently what we're doing isn't enough. So we need to figure out exactly what to do and figure out how to move that forward. The Congress, for example, has actually prohibited, though, studying what health impacts could result from changing some of the gun laws.
Yeah, CDC. There's a Dickey's Law, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the Center for Disease Control. They can't study how much guns impact health and safety.
Yeah.
So that's the place to start.
But they could easily push for the motion to repeal that and let the CDC. Do we really need a study to know that we have a problem with guns in this country?
Well, we got a problem with guns. I think we all know that. We just got to figure out what we can do that will effectively help us with our problem.
What do you think we can do? How would you solve the gun problem in the United States of America?
Well, I think the first place to start is with studying to figure out what's effective, because we're trying to balance separate freedoms. In Montana, we take our gun rights pretty seriously. And so we're always trying to balance the freedom to own a gun against the freedom to go to school in safety and the freedom not to have to worry about your children going to school.
Do you really believe those are equivocal rights?
I don't know if I would say they're equivocal. I would say that at least the gun ownership one is in part in the Second Amendment. So as a constitutional lawyer, I give it some weight. Also, we have the right to life and liberty and property, and that I think that's in a different amendment, part of the Constitution.
Sure.
So I think that has some weight too.
That would be that's the Declaration of Independence, as I was corrected. What was it, yesterday, the day before? On the last We the People. It's in the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which I think trumps whether you get to carry a gun. Honestly, I hate to use the word Trump, but I want to ask this. I know we don't have studies here in America. However, we certainly have plenty of other nations to look at that are doing much better in terms of everything than we are, including gun control. And the one major difference is gun laws. Even in countries that like guns, they have regulation, they have classes. You have to. They demand that you know what the hell you're doing. Do you not feel that those kind of same things? Hey, look, they're doing better over there. Same thing with healthcare in every other country. Do you not feel that we could implement some of these basic things and see the improvements happen immediately?
I think those are great places to start. Those are basically studies done in the real world. Absolutely. And
I'm not talking studies. I'm talking statistically. These countries show that they have almost zero. I mean, there are countries with no evidence, no gun violence whatsoever. We have, like, we're off the charts. Like our military, it's off the charts. So it's not studies. This is a country. Look at that country and that country. And that country. You don't think that by looking at those countries and going, it works there, implement it here.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm with you. I agree. I think we need to look at all of those and figure out what works the best. And those are the things that we want to work on.
I'm trying to nail you down on that, because what you keep saying to me is that we should look at solutions. And I'm saying, no, they've looked at solutions. It's strict gun laws. It's removing assault weapons from the hands of civilians. Those two things have seemed to work well. Would you agree that we need to implement those things, or do you think we should do something different, or do you think it's not time to implement those things in our society?
Well, I'm not ready to go with the Australian example right now. I don't think that we need to take guns from all of the Americans.
Well, they took assault weapons away. They didn't take all the guns away. They took all their assault weapons away. You can still own a firearm in Australia, but you have to damn well work hard for it. You know?
Well, maybe I need to look at that a little bit further. Maybe I'm not up on what they did exactly in Australia.
But same with and I don't mean to pound you so much on the guns. I'm just curious, because are your constituents in the same feeling? Because I think the rest of the country is kind of in more of a mood of it's time to do something here. And how are you going to deal with that in Montana? I think that's more my question. Is the Republican Party and their whole going to win on that issue because of where they stand in general with the NRA?
Right. Well, I hear what you're saying. And in Montana, I mean, the first thing to do is always, and I know you've heard this from probably both sides, implement the gun laws that we have, because we're actually just not doing that.
True.
And that's a real problem. And the Republicans are undermining, for example, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
True.
They are undermining their funding, undermining their leadership, and undermining their effectiveness. So the first place to do is to, implement the laws that we have. And then we need to keep the guns out of the hands of the people who are dangerous. We need to keep them out of the hands of terrorists, keep them out of the hands of criminals.
I'm going to stop there, because what I wanted to say, but I didn't interrupt him at the time, was, so do you believe we should keep guns out of the hands of white male Christians? Because that is the predominant terrorist we have in the United States of America, is a white male Christian supremacist shithead. That's our terrorist group. It's not a Muslim. It's a white Christian dude with an AR-15.
Yeah.
So I was not impressed with. I like Jared. He's a good candidate. I was not impressed with his response on guns. He seemed uninformed, and I don't know whether he was going that way for.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And
well, his state is a very pro-gun state, and it's Montana.
I realize
and
that,
it's a red state.
His answers were still not solid.
It's rural and hunting, and so I think that he was just trying to not. He would, as I just put in chat, he'd be shooting himself in the foot if he came down on guns too hard in front of his red state constituents. I think that is a touchy issue.
Yes.
For them. So that's why I think he was just being careful and not in a very polished way.
Yes.
I don't think he's pro-violence. I don't think he's pro-guns, but I think he's riding a line.
Yes, yes, exactly my impression also. Though I'm thankful for John that he brought his point of view and that he tried to get a straight answer from him regarding this topic. But I can understand. This is why I said it in the intro that it is very difficult. I can imagine for him to run there with a complete progressive gun agenda. You know? This would make his run nearly impossible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
I'd
it
like
is
to
always.
get John Heenan on. He's the brand new Congress candidate.
Yes,
I
yes.
keep reaching out for him. That would be an interesting contrast to see how far he'll go.
Yes. And there's no question that any of those candidates who are running in Montana are a better choice than Greg Giant 40. You know, you know, we all know.
Yeah.
So let's not be harsh with our judgment what Jared Pedinato considers.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's true. But I want to. I had to go shut off the light. Wrong light on. I do want to say that I think it's also in our best interest to take people that are willing to run. Anybody that's willing to run is already questionable in their sanity in this environment. And I mean that in a good-hearted way. But everybody that's willing to run like Jared needs our help in being honed, in being trained, right?
Yes.
So if, you know, and I try to, you know, most of the candidates that we have on are pretty good about their core issues and how they respond, and they have that set. Oftentimes they don't have all the information, or they don't have information that would be useful to them for that fact. So in that sense, I think it's good for us to, you know, here, let's do this. He was excellent about it live. All right, he handled it well, and that I got to give him an A+ for that. So. Yeah, I would love to get. You're right, Laura. I would love to get John Heenan, and there's a woman running as well. That's also in that mix, and another guy, right? There's another guy.
There are several. I need to.
Yeah.
But John is who I have my
Okay.
eye on.
All right, Markus next. Or did we? So I do this right because Laura said, you know, do we have any viewer feedback at this point on any stuff?
No, we don't have viewer feedbacks this week. We have some good posts about what we are doing, but nothing essential about candidates or contents this time. I hope this will change next week.
Well, hey, everybody, leave comments. I'm trying to get to the ones in the community. They changed it. Now they have communities, so we can post stuff there. It's like a stream feed. I don't know if you've seen this in the YouTubes. There's a couple things that are changing on the YouTubes. So, one, our conversations are going to be cataloged. This is so the FBI and the NSA can easily access them later. But actually, no, it's because people that come by to watch the live stream later after it's not live will be able to see the chat that occurred in the real time, which is kind of cool, I think.
Cool.
You know?
I'm not sure what I feel about that. As I mentioned on Twitter, sometimes what happens in chat should just stay in chat and be gone.
Yeah, you think so? All right.
Anyway, that's a mixed bag.
It is mixed. On the other hand, for me, it is nice to see, especially for our We the People shows, which I cannot be live with, to see it in the morning and to see the comments of our viewers also.
I like it. Well, so there you go. That's happening, and now I can't remember the other thing. What was the other thing? Oh, the community tab. So the community tab is there, which means I can post. Apparently, I can post pictures. I can just write stuff, and I can post videos with commentary. So it's a stream there. I will be looking there to engage, as will Laura and Markus and everybody else in the team. So if you guys want to leave a comment there, go right ahead. Every time somebody engages there, it helps. Right, that's part of SEO. It's just activity. It increases, for all that Google and YouTube are doing to suppress progressive information. That helps. That's a natural counterbalance in their algorithm. Just feel that way. Anyway, hi everybody. Just looking at your conversation here. Hi, 47 of you. Nice to see you all. Nice. Where are we at, Markus? What's next?
Oh, the next would be the review of the past news, the major news. we had the pleasure to witness, you know. And I would like to start with the latest things which came up with. I call it a stupid domino. It concerns the tariffs 45 wants to impose on steel and aluminium, and how stupid this in the end would turn out, not only for America, for Europe, for Asia, or for all of which are in this globalized world, you know. And as we can see in our first slide, there is the Donald Trump tweet, how great it is to have a trade war and how easy it is to be won. Well, I doubt this, because I can speak for the EU at this moment. Our leaders already have a plan in their drawers in how to address this problem, you know, imposing a steel tariff on Germany or on Europe especially, you know. Germany, you got to know, is one of the biggest steel producers here, and of course it would hurt our economy also. And so the decision is not to overreact on the steel tariffs, but to pick certain places which might be hurtful for some people over there, you know. And I don't know if it comes so far, but it would be very, very interesting to see if we can go a slide further. Who would be concerned, you know, if the EU says, okay, we will answer these tariff punishments, and we will impose ourselves some tariffs on certain products. And they will put those tariffs, as I can see here, on Harley Davidson, for example, you know. Home state is Wisconsin, and there is also concerned bourbon makers in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell will not like to hear this news, and there are some other states which address the constituency of those Republican senators or of those Republicans who support Trump in this idiotic Trump steel war, or whatever you want to call this, you know. And yeah, the plans are already in the drawers, and they would be imposed as soon as Trump will impose the tariffs on the EU steel. And I think this is not the EU who will do this. China also said they would reply. Australia said they would reply. All other countries will find also their targets, you know. France already agreed to be on board, you know, just like the other EU states. And this doesn't lead to nowhere. And this is how silly Trump meanwhile acts. I mean, we know him for now then more than a year, that he is completely silly and crazy and nuts and everything. But there is that the worrying thing is now that there is no other force, obviously, in the White House who can prevent him from doing these utter nonsense, you know, because this will hurt the complete economy. You know, you can be a fan of the globalization or not. I am not a big fan of it. But on the other hand, destroying all these trades, this cannot find a good ending, and I hope this will prevent it. That there are some voices left in the White House who can talk a little bit of seriousness into Trump. You know, and yeah, this is what I can say to this stupid thing. And there, the next graph, you can see it in the, you can see the graphic here, who he wants to punish. You know, he originally he said he wants to address the steel question. What is China doing? And China, as you can see, is only a minor player in this game. You know, he's as a matter of fact, he's punishing his closest allies. If you look at the graph, you know, and we will see where it leads.
Wouldn't it be easier just to ban steel from whoever you don't like? I don't know.
I think it is not only the question is not only about steel, but what could emerge from this in the worst case. You know, I think wars and trade wars, or if you want to call it like a trade war. There are less stupid things who caused those horrible outcome of those actions, which have absolutely no purpose for no economy, neither for the American economy, not for the other economies.
Well, so this is a confusing one for Americans. This is like supporting Democrats because on the one hand, we want American jobs back, and a lot of corporations have started buying, they buy stuff from other places like China, like Trump. Trump buys his steel from China. His buildings are made from steel from China, okay? Yet here he is imposing tariffs on imported steel. I mean, he's just the biggest hypocrite on earth. But, a lot of Americans, I saw a post by Brian Witt, candidate we've interviewed, progressive candidate we've interviewed, right? And he said, tariffs are a great idea. I actually like this. What did we discuss, Marcus? That it might be a good idea, but slamming 25%, like bam, is kind of not the right way to go about it.
If you ask me what a fair globalized trade would mean, this would mean that it would only include those countries who accept a democratic thought or constitution or something like this, and who are working in favor of all their constituents. I know it sounds a little bit like utopia. I know this, but I think this, in my opinion, this would be a fair globalization, and what we are seeing here, I'm not a fan of this, what we are seeing here, because the rich are getting richer and the poor getting poorer. But on the other hand, if all these is not existing anymore or is destroyed, it is at the favor for no one,
Right. Well, and I already saw some feedback from it. Electrolux was going to build a big old, going to invest $250 million in the U.S. in building a factory, and now because of the steel tariffs, they're like, nope. They're a Swedish company, by the way.
Yes.
So a Swedish investment in U.S. or Sweden.
A quarter billion, I think they want. They plan to not to invest and to wait. Yeah, and another job loss, And if you look at the automobile industry in America, they cannot produce all these steel in the foreseeable future, They need. And so this means everyone who wants to buy a car, even if it is a Tesla car, they need the same ingredients, if you want so. You have to pay more for it. Everyone has to pay more. And if I saw these, your finance minister yesterday, or was it your finance minister with the Campbell, can, and was explaining it is nearly nothing which would be more expensive. No, it's completely bullshit. Everything connected with steel or aluminum will get increased prices.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And including beer.
Including beer, yes.
That's bad.
Of course.
So, we'll wait to see how many of the Trump voters are like, my beer now, my Budweiser costs $20 a six-pack. God damn it. Anyway, I see a lot of comments happening here in chat. Laura Livengood, are you chatting? Is there questions? Should we engage with the peeps?
Nope, I was muted.
No? Well, I know you're.
I'm trying to get in touch with Michael Hepburn.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all right. Well, hey, everybody. It says, John Ellis, please uncover Bernie, says Jilly Love. He's right there. There's Bern. See? I just don't show this shot all the time. He's wearing my scarf, my Doctor Who scarf. And
yes. And the other good news about Bernie was that his son, Levi Sanders, is now running in New Hampshire District 1. And maybe, Laura, you could reach out.
Maybe. Levi, actually.
Levi, I'm sorry.
Levi
Sanders,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe.
Do that.
I think that he will get plenty of recognition.
Yeah.
We are kind of trying to stay on the West Coast, but, couldn't hurt Dad.
Okay. But he's Bernie. Bernie's son.
Yes, well, yeah. But like Marcus, like Laura said, I mean, he will get all the... That'll be a cover story for MSM. They'll want to have him on so they can pit him against somebody else and try to discredit the whole concept of progressiveness. And they'll be like, oh, another Sanders to beat up. Yay! Right? So I'm waiting for Joyanne Reed to go on the attack. Anyway.
Don't worry, she will.
I know she will. Guys, do you want me to put the Anon mask on Bernie? How high are you, Jilly Love? What's going on there? Just curious. This is the loose show. Remember, everybody? This is after all week. We got so much going on, and we do so many serious things. It's just Gotta relax. Gotta relax. All right. What else, Marcus? I want to make sure we're still on track here.
Yeah, we can go now over to the German healthcare system.
Oh, you guys ready for your big piece? All right.
Yes. Are you ready to get your weekend spoiled? Then we should start.
Well,
John?
Yeah. So this is you're gonna open with this, a town hall meeting with Bernie and German Ambassador Peter Wittig. This is right.
Yes, Bernie invited Peter Wittig, who is the German ambassador to USA, and I think mainly was the purpose of the invitation was to talk about the education system in Germany, but he also addressed, of course, the healthcare in Germany and what it all offers here. And I think we can start with the first video. There he talks about the maternal leave system and childcare system.
Oh. You want video?
To begin with.
Shit.
Yes. I'm sorry. You're not ready yet.
No,
okay.
no. I was getting ready to put Björn on. Give me a second. Let's get the video.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, we need Björn because Björn has to tell his story, his medical story, also, and
right.
Yeah.
Right. But I forgot. You got to load all these videos. So just to preface this, everybody. Okay. Like. This happened, Mark. This is Bernie Sanders and the German guy talking about German healthcare, and it's really important right now that we listen to the differences between the healthcare systems and the solutions that they have. All right, both Marcus and everybody, every German we know, actually. Every person we know in Europe actually is using healthcare, and they're not paying for it. They're not paying a shit ton for it. Maybe they have a copay of a few bucks. All right. So anyway, I just wanted this was supposed to be part of the cover on this. Was that this is
it was a town meeting. Björn invited no, not Björn. Bernie invited Peter Wittig too, and yes, and it was as you can see, it was full. You know, the audience was there. They were all interested in this.
Yes. So all right. So here we go.
All right.
Say a word about healthcare. Now, as you probably know, and everybody in the room knows, the United States is the only major country on earth not to guarantee healthcare to all people. You have a somewhat different system than other European countries have. Say a word about your system. Is everybody covered?
Yeah, we have a mandatory health insurance, and it goes back to the 19th century. And here again, I think we have a little bit of a philosophical mindset difference. We come from different traditions. We had a rather enlightened chancellor in the 19th century called Bismarck. He was a conservative, member of the landed aristocracy. But I think he had a sense of, social responsibility. But he also wanted to keep the socialists down. So what he basically established an insurance, a universal health insurance, and a universal unemployment insurance, out of the coffers of the state. And ever since that, we have established this kind of principles of solidarity and redistribution of wealth via the insurance, health insurance, and unemployment insurance. So that debate that America has or had about health insurance, we never had really. Because
you don't think it's a good idea to throw tens of millions of people off of health insurance?
Well, I think I can't.
Just out of curiosity, let me ask you this: if somebody in Parliament jumps up and says, I think it's a good idea to throw tens of millions of people off of the health care they had, how would the rest of the country react to that?
Yeah, it would be unconceivable in our country. But I know. But I also have to add, this country has a different tradition of individualism. And I have a friend in New York who would probably say, it all depends on life choices. If you choose not to be insured, it's your choice. And I think we are coming from a different mindset, and there is an individualist tradition in this country, and it leads to.
I'm not so sure that that's the answer. I think it has. But the point here, and
just
and
try
I think
to understand.
I think that it's true not only for Germany. I mean, I think throughout Europe, the most conservative of the political parties would not think for one moment that health care should not be available to all people as a right. Is that broadly correct?
I think you're right, yeah.
All right, tell me, let's stay on health care for a moment. All right, mom has a baby, goes to the hospital, has her baby. How much does that cost?
I wouldn't know. My wife will probably remember. Okay. Honestly, I don't know.
In general, is there much? Do you have to pay much out of pocket when you go into the doctor?
No, we have an insurance. It's a sort of double headed insurance. 86% of Germans are insured in via public insurance, publicly financed insurance companies. They can choose among various, but they're all publicly financed. And then the rest, 14%, chose a private insurance, which does not give you much of a difference in treatment, but it is, you pay more, and in some cases in hospitals, etc., you have more choices. But basically, it's a publicly financed health care for all.
You have described a pretty generous social welfare system, which obviously costs substantial sums of money, which takes us to the issue of taxation. Tell us a little bit about the nature of your tax system.
Well, we have federal and state and local taxes as well. Our, I think, tax, the range starts from 14%, and the highest is around 48% taxation. We have a tax rate that is higher. I think 36% is the tax rate. The US is something in the 20s, 29 or something. So we have higher taxes in our country. I know most people don't like taxes, especially Americans don't like tax. I mean, all this welfare state has to be financed, and in our case, it's financed by tax, and the tax rate in general is higher than in the U.S.
But you get a lot for those tax dollars, yes?
I think we get a lot, and I think I would also claim that our health system has worked well. We spend about 9% of the GDP on health. In this country, if I'm not mistaken, it's the double. It's almost 18%.
Spend about double per capita that you do. Yeah. All right. There's an issue that in this state.
All right, I'm gonna stop there because I think that's where you want it, right, Marcus?
Yeah, but we can. I think we can. Yes, it was the second one, but it is no problem because he was talking about healthcare in general in Germany, and the first one maybe we can run a little bit later when he's talking about the maternity leave. And,
sure.
I think if we have a look at the slides, we can find some more additional information on what Peter Wittig was talking about before Björn takes over with his personal experience what the German healthcare system concerns.
So why do Germans love their healthcare, Marcus?
Yes. Why didn't you hear Peter Wittig? Because we don't have to worry about having enough cash to visit a doctor, you know. I know a couple of months ago you had the same problem, John, you know, you're with your arm, you know, and you were hesitating a couple of days to until you finally visit a doctor, you know. And in Germany, we don't have to think about this, you know. If we don't feel well, we go to a doctor, period.
Right.
And this is, I think, this is a very lovable reason for the German healthcare system, in comparison to the American. Although I have to say really clear that the German healthcare system is by far not perfect. I gotta say this every time, you know. But in comparison to the American, it is absolutely gold. I have to say it like this.
Well, yeah, and before, you know, we can go into more slides, but I definitely want you to talk about what happens with your work and when the doctor gives you a work slip and how your employer is compensated.
Yes, okay, we will talk about this also. If we go through the slides quickly, you can see that that it is the German healthcare system has a very, very far-reaching history, you know, back in the late 1900s. And this is why this system established in as something in Germany, especially in Germany, we are taking for granted. This is there. It was always there. It will be always there. This is why Peter Wittig reacted to Bernie's answer like this. He could not understand the question, asking that someone would ask if it was needed to offer these German healthcare system. You know, everyone would revolt here if someone would try to lay hands on our system.
It was, yeah, and it was amazing for me to hear that Bismarck, right?
Yeah.
And this is Phil mentioned it. Is that the same battleship? Americans know of the name Bismarck simply from the badass battleship that we had to blow up during World War II, or we tried to blow up. You know, that's it, right? And we're taught the story as children of, look at this awesome battleship Germany built. It's like, instead of being taught about the conservative named Bismarck who actually implemented universal health care for his people. That's the real story there, isn't it?
Yes, and Bismarck did it for a reason. Later in his meeting with Björn, Peter Wittig explains it. It was not that Bismarck was a very a guy who was he was looking for solidarity, and he was taking much care for his people, you know. But he wants to fight with this move the Social Democrats, who were an opposing force at that time for him. And it was politically based, but in the end, it was in favor of us Germans, you know, and for a long time right now.
Huh.
So okay, if we go through the next slide, okay, we said it in Germany, about 85% of the Germans are insured by our insurance system, and this shows how many people here in Germany are relying on the system and supporting the system, you know. And yes, and there are, what I hear in America often when they are discussing the German healthcare system or the European healthcare system, when they refer to it as being socialistic or something like this, and you are being told which doctors you have to visit and which hospitals you have to visit. This is complete nonsense. You have the free choice where to go. Of course, there are some private clinics, but the majority of our clinics and hospitals here in Germany are free for public, and you can choose where you go. You can choose which doctor should examine you and so on, you know.
That's awesome.
This is okay. I think from the slides, I think most parts we heard already from Peter Wittig in his statements, and maybe we should now go over to Björn, who will tell us about his personal experience with German healthcare and how much, of course, the most important thing he has to pay for all this.
Well, hey Björn, thanks.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Well, yeah. Well, my story is basically a story that you hear probably from everybody here in Germany right now, because we have kind of like a flu epidemic here.
Hey Björn, turn up your gain a little bit. You're quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that better now?
Give me a little bit more, and then we're good.
Okay. So we kind of have like a flu epidemic right now here in Germany, and I basically had some kind of flu-like symptoms in October, and they just would not go away. So I went to my general practitioner, and she could not really find the problem. So I had kind of like an odyssey with some other specialist, I'm sorry. forgot the name for that. Pulmonologist, and of course an otorhinolaryngologist. And hard to pronounce that in English.
I think it's like an ENT,
about
like a voice.
About 6 weeks until they basically figured out what was wrong with me. And Markus and I, we sat together and kind of put up together what all those treatments and tests they would cost in America. There were like CAT scan for my chest, just an X-ray of the chest, pulmonology tests for checking for asthma or whatever, and the medication I needed. And we came up with a number of $5,500 for that treatment. And I paid, I think, 20 euros.
Wow.
Wow. And we have some slides which Björn looked for in slide 30 and 31. We can see, I see it's a little bit small. I hope you can see it. The prices, comparable prices, which Björn found out. You in America would have to pay for a similar treatment like him. You know.
Wow.
And Björn, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. This one. Yeah, like the chest X-ray they used on me on the newchoicehealth.com. I found like an average that will cost $370 in the United States. The pulmonary function test, which tests you for asthma, it varies between $230 and $570 at Lincoln, Nebraska Medical Center. The thing there is, if they don't find anything, they have to go through the full test. And if you go through the full test, which they did with me, you of course have to pay the full amount of money. If they find there are like 5 stages, and if they find with the second stage, you have to pay less for that. But of course, they didn't find anything with that test, and after I would have had to pay the full amount of money there. The CAT scan. That really surprised me with the range of prices in the United States. In North Carolina, you would pay like $675 for a CAT scan for your chest. The national average is $1,900 and almost $9,000 in Alaska.
Wow.
That was
this is incredible for us Germans, you know.
Yeah. Well, and the pulmonologist, she subscribed this Pulmicort medication for me, and this is one inhaler is 30 inhales, and I got 100 ones, so I got the 3 inhalers thing worth here $777. Actually, I would have saved 1% there, and yeah, but that did the trick for me, and then I got better. But there were some other medications I needed, and I got that added up altogether to almost $5,500.
Yeah.
And you, can I just ask a question, Björn?
Yeah.
So you're a German citizen. You got all that health care for that. Are you working?
No, actually, I'm disabled, so I'm not even paying anything.
Wow. So in America, you'd be considered a welfare loafer who also got free insurance.
Markus is paying for me.
Wow.
Yes.
And Markus, you're not enraged?
What for?
Because he's just living off you, man. He's just one of those freeloaders in America.
Let me say it like this with a little bit bitter irony, you know. If the Americans have the guns in their genes, I think meanwhile we Germans have the healthcare in our genes.
Oh, that's nice.
I know it's bitter, and it's bitter. I know, but this is nothing. Nobody here wastes a thought about. You know, this is for us. It is absolutely normal, and this is how we see our society. Mostly that we see ourselves as a solidarity community. You know,
and of course I did work before, and I paid, of course, my insurance. But right now, because of some illness, I'm not able to work. I get checked every 2 years if I'm healthy enough to work again. But I am not right now. So I don't have to pay for the insurance.
And do you feel like you're that you're under the gun? Does the government come by and say, when are you going to be able to work again? Or
no, that's not. If you have to go to you cannot go to your best buddy doctor and get that slip that you're unable to work. You of course have to go to some state doctors, and they check you out and whatever. It's kind of like, it's not very common that you get this. You actually have to be sick. It's kind of. I wouldn't say it's impossible to kind of cheat your way into it, but it's basically very hard to cheat your way into it.
Well, sure. But on the other hand, the German people they don't seem to be overly concerned. And I asked this of Mark, well, all of you, don't seem to be overly concerned about fraud or about somebody abusing the system, really.
There is one newspaper who is usually gets that. It has like the National Enquirer type of newspaper in Germany, who always kind of like, if there's no news, that's the news they're going to put out, like social security fraud in the millions. Yeah, but put together like the people who avoid taxes, that's basically like 10 times that much. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody, just so that you know, yes, we are having audio fluctuations on Björn. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's Zoom or Germany or whatever. So, yeah, or the NSA. So just know that that's happening.
Most likely, yeah.
B&D, yeah.
So just out of curiosity, I know you have more you want to talk about, but I just want to contrast right now. Does either one of you know how much Germany spends out of its percentage of GDP on its military?
Yeah, Trump was getting onto Germany because we were not using enough money. I think they have like a NATO. They have that you have to pay at least 2%.
Yes, and I think it is a little bit more. I think we are investing now 2.2% of our GDP.
Yeah,
in 2018, I think something like this was the number.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. I mean, think about it, everybody. The reason I say that is because America spends more than 50% on its military. So when you when you're a German citizen, you're not so concerned about having the money to take care of it within the government because the government isn't wasting all of your money on its military. That was kind of my contrast. 2.2%. That's like minuscule. Right?
Yeah.
I think the budget for social things like welfare and healthcare and all that is, I think, 41% of the budget.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like a reversal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say it like this, yeah.
But I mean, who's going to invade us? Denmark? Netherlands?
Poland.
I mean,
yeah.
Poland seems pretty mean these days. I don't know. Maybe they're going to come on in.
Yeah, all those 5 million Polands, yeah.
Are you? I mean, you guys aren't really worried about that. Now you're more worried about the U.S. Hurting your economy with the steel than you are about invasion, right?
I personally do not have any invasion fears here from what myself concerns. I don't know, Björn?
No, I like the only thing I kind of like Justin Bieber invasion or something like that. That would be
that would be frightening. But even if
I'm not really concerned about the Trump economic wealth invasion there with the tariffs and all that. I'm not that much concerned either.
No. No, you guys will. That's pissed off.
I
Moody.
just think that the only thing that the Republicans listen to are their donors, and I don't think that the Republican donors really want that. And so I'm not really sure if that's really going to happen on a big scale.
Agree. But even if there was an invasion and somebody came in and kicked all your asses, you'd have good health care to take care of you, so it'd be all right.
Yes, good idea. And you were asking a little bit earlier about what happens if we are visiting a doctor, and the doctor says, no, you cannot go to work anymore.
Yes. Tell everybody your story. This is awesome.
And this is not a big story. This is what happens if you fell sick. This happens to me last Monday in the afternoon. I told my boss that it makes no sense anymore. He said, no. He said, go. And I said, okay, I'm leaving. And the next day, on Tuesday, I went to my doctor, and he had a short look at me, and I said, okay, I know everything, and you won't go to work until next Wednesday. And then you get a so-called yellow paper, which you have to give to your employer. He takes this yellow paper and gives this to his tax accountant, who again gives this to the tax department, to the healthcare service, who gives a certain amount back to the employer for the missing hours the employee was sick, was not at work. And I think it's about 60% of what he gets back from the healthcare service.
60%. So
about this, yes.
So understand the story there, everybody, because in America that would be a very different story depending on who you worked for, right? Most of us would have not been paid at all. We would have been screwed. We would have lost time from work. Here, the German tax dollars, remember the German guy said our taxes are higher here? So those tax dollars go to the government, and that money, when they need to, gets portioned off. Some of it gets portioned off right back to Marcus's business owner, so that business owner is compensated for Marcus being sick, and Marcus isn't penalized because he's sick.
Yes.
It's an amazing concept.
Yeah.
I have to use my vacation days if I'm sick. So if I were to take a week and a half off to be sick, then there goes any plan of the paid vacation that I might have later in the year.
Actually, that goes on. The payment goes on for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're sick longer than 6 weeks, then the the employer doesn't have to pay you anything anymore, but you get your money directly from the health insurance company.
Yes, and you would get only then, I think, about 60 or 70% of your last
the
income.
same amount what the health insurance company pays the employer you would get, but there are some there are especially bigger companies kind of like that have like with their insurance, with the union kind of like made a deal with them that the employers would pay like the difference there.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're sick for more than 6 weeks.
Yes.
And I'm seeing somebody say, no wonder this. Hey, Free Parsons. Hey, Eric, how you doing? And I just want to. I think what I'm tapping, we're seeing. I think Free Parsons and others had mentioned preventative medicine, like because you guys don't worry about paying for it when you're like, I don't feel good. I'm going to go to the doctor because it's not going to cost me shit, right?
Yeah.
We're here.
Exactly.
I'm like, I don't feel good. Well, fuck, I'm kind of unemployed anyway. Not going to go to the doctor because I don't have insurance. And even if I did, it still costs me a lot of money, which I don't have. So I'm going to battle it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happens.
And you cannot battle out any sickness, and yeah.
It's as well as they were saying in the chat. I forget who said it, but they said no wonder the flu has spread so quickly in the United States. We have people in the United States that are denying the validation of vaccines. So that's that whole thing. And then the fact that parents aren't able to take their kids in when they are sick or keep them home. Right? Parents aren't able to take the time. I mean, this is what we're having here, and it's why flu has been such a problem in the United States. Supposedly. But anyway, I'm jealous of your health care. I never thought I'd say that. It's like, I'm jealous of
and we're not finished yet. If we can now play the first clip, when he's talking about the maternal leave, maternity leave.
All right.
Line 23.
I got it.
Yes.
All right. Maternity leave segment, everybody.
Yes.
What I want to do is to ask you to kind of describe for us what life in Germany is for an average family. And let me begin. We'll start with the birthing process. If I am a woman in Germany and I have a baby, what type of maternity leave is available to me? How does that work?
There is maternity leave 6 weeks before birth and 8 weeks after birth, I believe.
And that is paid?
That is paid.
And my understanding is that after the mother goes back to work or takes family leave for up to 3 years, she can receive 60% of her pay doing that. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's correct. But also fathers are eligible if, for instance, if the couple decides that the woman should go back to work and the father stay home to look after the child, then parental support also can be given to the family via the father staying home.
Now, the United States has the rather dubious distinction of being the only major country on earth not to provide paid family leave. What kind of system do you have in Germany?
Beyond that, what we just described, well, we have maternal leave, parental leave, and then we have a system of free early child education from 1 year onwards. So every child has a right to be schooled in a pre-K school.
Everybody hear that? Anybody know what child care costs in Burlington a year? Anyone have a guess? What's the cost? Well, I'll get to the questions later. I just want to stay on child care for a second. It's about $12,000 a year, I think. Does that sound right? In the ballpark? All right, and you got free child care after 1 year? Okay. Talk about all parents receive a benefit from around $250 per month to help defray the cost of raising children up to the age of 18. What is the purpose of that?
Well, everybody gets sort of a child benefit.
He goes like this. He says, well, of course, everybody gets a child benefit.
Yeah.
Well, most of us don't, but...
So I have 4 children. I get about 800 euros, which is about, I guess, $900 a month for my, although I wouldn't really need it, although I'm not, you know, a 1% person. But even I get that. Every person gets that.
All right, we're going to cut it there. Right, Marcus?
Yeah. Yeah, quite interesting, you know. If you're, it doesn't matter if you're a mom or a dad. If you decide, yeah, I will go on leave on maternity leave or on father's leave. I don't know how the right term is. Then you got to do it here in Germany, and yeah, that's so
and
easy.
It's not 18. You don't get that money for your kids up until you're 18. If your kid goes to college, tries to get like an MA or a PhD or whatever, then usually it's longer there. Of course, you can get it up to age 27.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's depressing for me.
I told you, you know, it's, yeah.
Wow. See what happens when we invade your country? You rebuild and make everything better.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Now, I mean, we didn't really
thanks
do
for
the
coming
invasion.
over, yeah.
I know, we didn't really do the invading. We came over and helped you guys with a problem. But then you took our democracy and made it really better. You did. And
Shame on us.
I know. Germans improving on democracy. Anyway,
if it only was so.
It was.
Okay.
We got to wrap up because we ran long here. We're almost like an hour and a half or so. But that was great, very informative. Do you have anything else you want to tell us?
Björn, do you have anything left to add?
Go Royals.
All right.
Thank you both for sharing your personal experiences and stories and prescription costs and all that stuff. I really appreciate it. You know, and
thank you.
And I'm jelly of your healthcare.
Yeah.
My healthcare plan, my new healthcare plan, my old healthcare plan was just I didn't have one, really. It's just don't do stupid shit and stay healthy. My new one is start saving up a little bit of money so that if I do get screwed, I can fly to another country and get health care. It would be cheaper to do that than it would be to attempt to get health care here. Just go somewhere else. Go somewhere else, and then I would have to get re-injured there. So it was like legit. I don't know how that would work. Whatever. They would probably take care of me in Germany. I just came over to Germany and be like, oh, you dumb asshole American, come here. And whatever.
Of course.
See? That's my plan. American
and with college, a lot of American students are coming over to Germany and other European countries to actually go to college here because, first of all, the college education is exactly the same as in America, and it costs barely nothing.
Oh, the quality of education is way better than the quality of education in America at this point. I guarantee that.
High school, college, okay.
So we tried to get son Chase to go to Germany because mom lives in Germany, right? She's an American immigrant on a green card visa.
Nice.
Or as Americans like to say, an expat living in Germany. But
exactly.
That's the difference. Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, Markus. That was an awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's awesome report. Looking forward to you guys putting together your first world news.
Yes, we're working on this.
I hope.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you are. All right. Now I don't have Laura in any one of the cams. That's the problem, guys. This is like.
Where'd it go?
Well, because I had Bjorn over here, and then I got slides over here, and I got.
First time with Laura today. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So, we have any more videos that you're going to make me run, Markus?
No, we are nearly through our today's show. We only have the outro song and some NRA cartoons I collected over the weekend.
Well, all right. There's Laura. Here. Tink. No, but it still shows Bjorn. Oh, wait. Oh, there's the 4. Right. Now I got there. Laura's
there we go.
I'm on the bottom now.
So it's supposed to look this way? Everybody's got to look the right direction, right? Okay, Laura's got to look up. Markus has got to look down.
Bye.
Hey. Right. Do the. Right.
Oh, my gosh.
Silly Americans. All right.
Yeah.
Silly humans. Really, we all are silly humans. Laura, what else we got to talk about? Anything else?
No. Markus is having fun.
I could do the same,
No, just everybody tune in this afternoon to Gail McLaughlin's meet and greet in San Francisco.
Yes.
And hopefully the rain will let up and be kind to me, and I'll be able to get hooked up and catch some speeches and some short interviews with Adriel, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah, it is going to be awesome. Thank you so much for going down there and doing that. It's around 4 today. Up, down, wherever the hell you're going. Up. Thank you for going there. I'm the geography challenged. And yeah, I guess that Markus, you want to tell us about this end tune? I have to get rid of Laura to put it on.
Yeah, though I had no opportunity to play this last week when we also talked about the NRA and the Florida shootings, and I want to dedicate the next song to the brave kids of the Florida school shooting who so bravely stood up and still standing up, and I hope they will go on voicing over their demands. And the next song is from a British punk band from 1978 or 79, not sure about it. It is Sham 69's If the Kids Are United.
Wow. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Sham 69, If the Kids Are United. Join us later on this afternoon. And,
so let's all grab and let's all enjoy. If the kids are united, they will never be divided. If the kids are united, they will never be divided. you are him, and he is you. If the kids are united, then we'll never be divided. If the kids are united, then we'll never be divided. I don't wanna be rejected. I don't wanna be denied. And it's not my misfortune that I've opened up